A time of unexampled prosperity. In the course of a voyage from England, I once fell in with the convoy of merchant ships bound for the West Indies. The weather was uncommonly bland, and the ships vied with each other in spreading sail to catch a light, favoring breeze, until their hulls were almost hidden beneath a cloud of canvas. The breeze went down with the sun, and his last yellow rays shone upon 1,000 sails idly flapping against the masts. I exulted in the beauty of the scene and augured a prosperous voyage, but the veteran master of the ship shook his head and pronounced this helicon calm a weather breeder. And so it proved. A storm burst forth in the night, the sea roared and raged, and when the day broke, I beheld the late gallant convoy scattered in every direction, some dismasted, others scudding under bare poles, and many firing signals of distress. I have since been occasionally reminded of this scene by those calm, sunny seasons in the commercial world, which are known by the name of times of unexampled prosperity. They are the sure weather breeders of traffic. Every now and then, the world is visited by one of these delusive seasons when the credit system, as it is called, expands to full luxuriance. Everybody trusts everybody. A bad debt is a thing unheard of. The broad way to certain and sudden wealth lies plain and open, and men are tempted to dash forward boldly from the facility of borrowing. Promissory notes, interchanged between scheming individuals, are liberally discounted at the banks, which become so many mints to coin words into cash, and as the supply of words is inexhaustible, it may readily be supposed what a vast amount of promissory capital is soon in circulation. Every one now talks in thousands. Nothing is heard by gigantic operations in trade, great purchases and sales of real property, and immense sums made at every transfer. All, to be sure, yes, as yet exist in promise. But the believer in promises calculates the aggregate as solid capital and falls back in amazement at the amounts of public wealth, the unexampled state of public prosperity. Now is the time for speculative and dreaming or designing men. They relate their dreams and projects to the ignorant and credulous, dazzles them with golden visions, and set them maddening after shadows. The example of one stimulates another. Speculation rises on speculation. Bubble rises on bubble. Everyone helps with his breath to swell the windy superstructure, and admires and wonders at the magnitude of the inflation he has contributed to produce. Speculation is the romance of trade and casts contempt upon all its sober realities. It renders the stock jobber a magician and the exchange of a region of enchantment. It elevates a merchant into a kind of knight errant, or rather a commercial Quixote. The slow but sure gains of snug percentage becomes despicable in his eyes. No operation is thought worthy of attention that does not double or treble in the investments. No business is worth following that does not promise an immediate fortune. As he sits musing over his ledger with pen behind his ear, he is like La Mancha's hero in his study, dreaming over his books of chivalry. His dusty counting house fades before his eyes, or changes into a Spanish mine. He gropes after diamonds or dives after pearls. The subterranean garden of Aladdin is nothing to the realms of the wealth that break upon his imagination. Could this delusion always last, the life of a merchant would indeed be a golden dream, but it is as short as it is brilliant. Let but a doubt enter, and the season of unexampled prosperity is at an end. The coinage of words is suddenly curtailed, the promissory capital begins to vanish into smoke, a panic succeeds, and the whole superstructure built upon credit and reared by speculation crumbles to the ground, leaving scarce a weak wreck behind. It is such a stuff of dreams are made of. When a man of business therefore hears on every side rumors of fortune suddenly acquired, when he finds banks liberal and brokers busy, when he sees adventures flush of paper capital and full of schemes and enterprises, when he perceives a greater disposition to buy than to sell, when trade overflows its accustomed channels and deluges the country, when he hears of new regions of commercial adventure, of distant marts and distant mines, swallowing merchandise and disgorging gold, when he finds joint stock companies of all kinds forming railroads, canals, locomotive engines, internet companies springing up on every side, when idlers suddenly become men of business and dash into the game of Bitcoin commerce as they would into the hazards of the faro table. When he beholds the street glittering with new equipages, palaces conjured up by the magic of speculation, tradesmen flushed with sudden success and vying with each other in ostentatious expense, in a word, when he hears the whole community joining in the theme of unexampled prosperity, let him look upon the whole as a weather breeder and prepare for the impending storm. O fool! The foregoing remarks are intended merely as a prelude to a narrative that I am about to lay before the public, and one of the most memorable instances of the infatuation of gain to be found in the whole history of commerce. I allude to the famous Mississippi bubble. It is a matter that has passed into a proverb and became a phrase in everyone's mouth, yet of which not one merchant in 10 has probably a distinct idea. I have therefore thought that an authentic account of it would be interesting and salutary at the present moment when we are suffering under the effect of a severe access of the credit system and just recovering from one of its ruinous delusions.